Hi, this is Hans, and if you're thinking of working in software or just started, then you'd better get used to learning. Those of us who have been in the industry for a while, we know we're constantly needing to learn new things. It's like whether it's doing the same thing in a different language or a different way, or somebody else has come up with a better way of doing something, or we need to use a new library or a new system. There's always new stuff to learn. And one of the best ways is to go through tutorials. Now, have you ever gone through tutorials and it just doesn't make any sense? You just can't figure it, it doesn't make you any wiser. You don't know what's going on. Sometimes it's the fault of the tutorial. It was just poorly written, or it's out of date. The software has changed, the library's changed, and the tutorial's wrong. Other times, to see the problem, you need to stand in front of a mirror. Yeah, that's right. The problem is here. So here are 3 simple steps, and they are simple, to get the most out of tutorials so that you're not the problem. Number 1, do the actual work. Now, have you ever gone through a tutorial and just gone, oh yeah, that makes sense. Oh, so you do this, then you do that. Yeah, I got it. I understand. I know how this works. And then later you go sit down to try to write your own code and you realize that actually, no, you don't know what you're doing. You don't know how it works. And that's because simply reading it and simply having what somebody else says make sense doesn't mean you actually understand it. So yeah, you need to do the work. Go through the tutorial, write out the code. Which brings me to step 2, and that is type the code out yourself. Right? It's very tempting to save time and just copy paste, but when you copy paste, you're not really looking at the code. When you type out the code yourself, you have to look at the code yourself, and you're making the actions of typing it out. So you've got 2 ways that you're learning. If you're more of an audio learner, then you might want to actually speak the code, say the code as you're typing it out. People might laugh at you. It's probably going to look and sound funny, but hey, if it helps you learn better, who cares? And then finally, once you've typed out all the code, tested it, it's running, it does what it's supposed to do, then step 3 is to tinker with the code. And what I mean with that is decide, okay, I want to change this tutorial code to do something slightly different. I've written a few tutorials over the time, and if you come to the end of the tutorials that I've written, you'll usually find an exercises section like that. And those exercises are basically there to get you to do what I'm just telling you right now. It's step 3. It's like, see if you can get the code to do this or that. It's all about tinkering, testing, getting an intuitive feel for how it works. That's the best way to really understand what the code is doing. Hey, if I change this, what happens? Or I want it to do that. Let's see if I can make it do that. So those are the 3 steps. First one, do the work. Yes, very simple. Second one, type the code out by hand. Yes, the extra time it takes to type it out by hand is worth it. And 3, tinker with the code afterwards. Play with it. Change it. See what happens. Try to get it to do something else. And if you still get stuck, well, that happens, you can always reach out for help. Or the other option is if the tutorials provide full, complete example code to compare what you did to theirs. I know the first time I wrote tutorials, I deliberately didn't provide full code because I didn't want people just copying and pasting and then looking at it and saying, yeah, I understand. And then they go to write their own code and they can't do it. But now I've realized the value of having the complete example so people can compare what they did with what they should have done and figure out what they did wrong. So I hope that was helpful to you. If you want to see more like this, then my recommendation is to hit the subscribe button and the little notification bell. It's up to you. I will see you next time.